and gentlemen, Street Talk and Other Stuff. Welcome back on a fine Monday morning in October. Nice to have you with us. I'm not even going to talk about what happened yesterday. Okay, those of you who are watching TV, who are still among the 12s, who haven't joined the protest against the NFL, we're not even going to discuss that. But nice to have you here. It's good to be here. We've got a good show for you today, but just a couple of things, you know. I've had a lot of jobs in my life. Matter of fact, I was entertaining my children, grandchildren the other day, telling them about stuff I used to do, like be a, you know, usher at the movies, which nobody even knows about that anymore. But I once went to a job interview, and the guy who was interviewing me asked me, he says, "How much do you want as a starting salary?" And I said, "Well, I'd like about $125,000 a year." He said, "Oh, well," he said, "how about this? You know, how about a company package where you get 5 weeks vacation every year? In addition to that, you get 14 paid holidays." And he said, "Full medical and dental, a company matching retirement fund that you can contribute to, and a company car leased every 2 years." I said, "Wow." I said, "Are you kidding?" He said, "Yeah, but you started it." And then, and also I once had a job working at one of those psychic hotlines, but I got fired. I didn't see that coming. And I once went back to school, and this is true. I went back to school to get to increase my education. I wanted to get a teaching certificate because I wanted to major in history and then teach history, but I quit. There was just no future in it. And I tried once to work as a photographer, but that never developed either. Okay, so Street Talking Other Stuff. Look, I've got a real good guest today. One of these people that falls into the category that if you don't know this person, you should. So, hey, Street Talking Other Stuff. Mike Maddog, Magnotti, stick around. We'll be right back.
Eastern Washington. It's a great place to call home and a great time to own a home. It's the ideal place to lay down roots for your family and your future. Gisa Credit Union thinks Eastern Washington is a great place to own a home, too. That's why we offer all kinds of home loans with personal attention every step of the way. We're your home. For home loans, we're Gisa Credit Union.
This is State Representative Kerry Kandata inviting you to watch our new and improved 12th District 2.0 show. Now featuring more information on federal, state, and local issues in a leaner, faster format. Guest host John Wise and Shiloh Shower bring it all home with yours truly, Kerry Kandata. Why do we call it 2.0? Because just like me, it's the stronger, faster, and lighter version of today's politics. Also available on demand at ncwlife.com.
What's your auto-mocha emergency?
It's a Frappuccino mocha with whip.
The espresso shakes are my most favorite because I can get any flavor. Peanut butter chocolate for pita.
Definitely the espresso shakes.
My favorite is the mocha for pitas.
A peach Red Bull.
Are you raising a grandchild or another relative's child? If so, kinship programs may be available for your family. Kinship care is the full-time care of children by relatives. Kinship care maintains family, cultural, and community ties. It's the oldest form of family preservation and an important safety net for children whose parents are either unable or unwilling to care for them. To learn more about kinship care or to find a support group near you, please contact Aging and Adult Care of Central Washington.
Okay, Street Talking Other Stuff. Mike Maddog, Magnotti. I'm very proud to have Dr. Julie Rickard on with us today. Julie and I don't know each other well, but she was kind of a mentor for me when we worked in a suicide, well, she allowed me to work with her in a suicide prevention program, which we'll talk about later. But go ahead, tell us a little bit about yourself. Let people get to know you somewhat.
Yeah, so I'm a licensed clinical psychologist. I started my career here in the Valley at Columbia Valley Community Health. I helped to start their integrated behavioral medicine program, and then worked for Confluence Health, where I continue to run the Suicide Prevention Coalition that I founded in 2012. And now I'm opening Parkside, which is a crisis stabilization facility.
Okay, and how long have you lived in the Valley, you know?
So about 14 years.
Okay, and where were you from originally? I mean, I'm going to dig into the personal
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
I just
So-
want to know, you know?
So I'm from Wisconsin, Madison, Wisconsin.
Oh, okay.
And
All right.
I did my residency in West Virginia and then was recruited from West Virginia out of residency to Columbia Valley.
Oh, okay. So good. So how you liking it out here, you know?
You know, it was really the best fit for me. I mean,
Yeah.
I was looking for a smaller community that I didn't have to wait in traffic like I was in Madison, Wisconsin, and something that was in the mountains, so it really was great. And then there's no bugs here, so how do you
Yeah,
beat
that's
that?
true. There's no mosquitoes, you know?
No. That's our state bird in Wisconsin. So,
Yeah, all right. Yeah, well, Minnesota. Minnesota is sometimes nicknamed Mosquito Soda.
Oh,
okay,
there
and I
you go.
spent a night there once.
Yeah.
Camping
Well, they
out.
have some big
yes,
ones.
Yes, it was. So.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm a transplant too. I'm from New Jersey. I came out
Oh.
here when I was 19. So yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Well, the weather's perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the weather's perfect in the summer, in the spring, and the fall. In the winter.
Hey, you can't. You have to live in Wisconsin to know what a real winter
Okay.
is.
All right. I'll take your word
Yeah.
for it. All right. Okay. All right. Well, let's talk about the suicide prevention program that
Yeah.
you brought here, you initiated, and you probably trained, or not you, but
I've
you
trained a
and
lot
others.
of people. Yeah.
I mean, how many? Well, tell us about it first. So.
Yeah, so the Suicide Prevention Coalition was founded in 2012, and it was really because we as a community had a rash of suicides in the first 6 weeks of the year. So there was 11 suicides that year. About 6 of those were youth. In total that year, we had 30 suicides, which was the worst on record.
Really?
And so I was part of a group of clinicians where other community health agencies were really trying to figure out how do we wrap around this problem in our community. And I think my staff felt like we should be on the prevention side of it and really kind of pushed me to direct the coalition. And so once I get in, I don't quit. So here I
Sure.
am, years later, still directing it.
So what was the program? No, because I know the answer to this question.
Yeah.
But what was the program you brought in, and how come you picked that program, and how has that worked? So-
Yeah, so the Suicide Prevention Coalition, when we first started, one of the things that we know is that people don't retain all of the information that they learn. And so the idea was to pick something that would be retained over time as we keep repeating the same message. So we picked the QPR Institute's training, which was question, persuade, refer,
Right.
and as a gatekeeper training. In that first year that we actually trained 3,200 people. You were one of those people that trained an enormous amount of people. I mean, all the way to Seattle you trained.
Well, it was important.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
yeah.
actually, you know, the people I used to work with in Antioch Adoptions ran, you know, they have this conference every year
Yep.
on, you know, for foster kids and foster children adoption. So for, a couple of years I went over and, you know, that was part of that program. That
And foster kids are at huge risk for suicide.
Yeah, much higher risk
Yeah.
than other people. So
Yep.
yeah, but no, I was proud to do that. It was a good program, and it was very, from what I could tell, very well received, and it did have some effect. So talk
It had
about that
a
little
huge
bit,
effect,
so.
actually. So we trained 3,200 our first year as a group of clinicians and people that were interested in suicide prevention. And then the second year, we trained 2,500 people. So the suicide rate went from 30 that first year when we started the coalition down to 8.
Right.
And then it was 13, then 8. The following 2 years. And so we did a really good job. The other thing that we did during those early years was we adopted pro-social messaging. And pro-social messaging basically says that if other people are getting help, then I can get help too. And people really buy into the idea that if other people are doing anything, then that would be something I would want to be a part of. And so the goal for the coalition was really to adopt a messaging through all of our marketing and through any of the online stuff, or whether it was television or radio, that would pull that messaging in, because the truth is depression is really treatable, and most people that die by suicide are depressed at the time of death.
And that, I mean, and your training is still going on. I still get the emails that say you need people to train here and there and that type of thing. So what's the future for this program? You know, I mean,
we're kind of
you're still
expanding.
using QPR, correct?
Yep.
Okay.
So, well, we're using QPR right now. My goal is that I'm working on moment-by-moment suicide prevention, which will hopefully get approved by the state in the next month. At this point, then we'll switch over to moment by moment, which the idea behind that is really to take a lot of the new information that we're learning about suicide prevention and some of the new best practice and to apply that. The other thing I'm doing is I'm adding more, I'm really medically based, I've always been medically based, and so I'm working on making sure that we're incorporating physicians because they're also part of our mandated population for suicide prevention. So it's not only mental health now, it's also those that are medically based. So it could be surgeons, could be primary care providers, and then also nurses as well, and pharmacists. So lots of people are now mandated in our state to be trained. So this training would allow them to kind of understand the information as it pertains to their actual work.
Okay, and who does that training here for the clinicians and the social workers?
So right now, I'm the only person that is trained to do the full 8-hour training. My goal with doing moment-by-moment suicide prevention is that I would get a train-the-trainer program going. And the reason for adopting my training really moving forward is for cost effectiveness. That QPR really is expensive for the coalition to continue to raise funds for. And so as me running it, it makes sense that I could then train trainers in all 4 of our counties. And then get trainers in all four counties within our region.
Okay, now why is QPR expensive to, what is the issue with that?
So, QPR was started by Paul Quinnett, Dr. Quinnett, and so he, it's a business, and so part of it is that it's $500 a head to train someone. And so we trained our first year. You were one of them.
Yeah, $500 to train a trainer, or
to train one trainer.
Oh, okay.
Not including the additional expenses that go with it. So it's just $500 for you. But then to bring the trainer in, there's the cost that's involved. And I understand it, but it cost us the first year. We trained 30 people.
Right.
And so now we're down to about 2 or 3 people that continue to do the public training, which is the QPR gatekeeper training. And so my goal would be to have a training that would be free for all 4 of our counties, so that each of the coalitions in the counties would be able to not have to spend their monies doing that, and they could expand into the high schools and some of the other areas that we really want to work on.
Okay, well, I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah.
That's what. Okay, well.
Yeah.
All right, now I know this is something important that you wanted to discuss about what are the warning signs that people should be looking out for if they're concerned that somebody could be considering suicide, and then when you see these warning signs, what's the proper approach?
Yeah, so warning signs are really kind of the early signs that someone might be struggling, and I think part of when we think about warning signs, sometimes it sounds like other things that people might be going through. And the way we look at that is really what's their baseline, so how do they operate normally, and then if you see someone that really never talks about death and then all of a sudden starts to make comments about wanting to die or wishing they were dead, it's something that kind of raises the hair on your back of your neck and you say, oh, I should probably say or do something. Or someone that maybe was really talkative but now they're kind of standoffish, they're not talking, they might be posting things that feel like they're riding the edge and you're wondering, is this person okay? They feel hopeless. So hopelessness, saying I'm a burden, those are 2 of the main things that people generally will drive kind of wanting to die by suicide. So anything related to depression, we know that health risks, so things that change about people's health can make people more concerned. Things that are shameful, so if they get arrested or they lose their house or they lose their job, those are types of events that would put someone more at risk than others. Yeah,
I know, just the arrest thing, from my former experience, some people getting arrested, it's like, oh, you're gonna go again, but for others, someone who is
it's life-changing,
supposedly respectable, and that's some of the thing. You're stuck in the back of a police car with some cop with a bad attitude, and jail can be. Just pulling into the Sally Port and the whole booking procedure, that can be really, really traumatic for some folks if they're not used to it. Yeah, and the shame involved would be incredible.
Yeah, and whenever there's shame involved, the risk goes up. And so we see that with teenagers, and we also see that with adults.
And another one of the signs is giving away possessions, right?
Yeah.
Okay, here, this is something I really want you to have. It means a lot to me, that type of thing. So.
Yeah, and
Interesting.
you know, I think people do that in different ways. Sometimes
Sure.
they leave little notes. Sometimes they, you know, just say, "I'm going to finish off my will," and then they take care of it. And so it's kind of this in the background. But oftentimes people will recognize the signs, but not really put it all together. And so, really, getting trained in suicide prevention is one of the things that you can do to really prevent suicide.
And are you still looking for people who you can train to be trainers and that type of thing?
Absolutely. So
Okay.
we, starting in 2019, we're going to be doing a Train the Trainer push again. So
Okay.
if people are interested in getting trained in suicide prevention as a trainer, we would love to hear from you.
Okay. And if you need to know, if you're interested in doing this, and it's really rewarding work, if you can't somehow get a hold of Dr. Rickard, contact me, Maddog at nwi.net, or address it here at the station, and I can make sure you get hooked up with a good doctor, and you can get more information on that. Well, because it's a great program.
Yeah,
It's
I
very
appreciate
rewarding
it.
for me to do. You know,
You were
enjoyed it.
amazing.
Well, I had a lot of contacts.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I hooked up with the cops. I went and
Yeah.
did all the police officers here in town for the city of Wenatchee. I did all the dispatchers for Rivercom.
Yeah.
You know, but I just knew a lot of people. You know,
It's helpful.
there were some people though that wouldn't do it. Okay, they just didn't want to go there. But that. It's, and I want to mention one thing. One of the things you have to learn is to ask people directly, are you thinking of committing suicide or killing yourself?
Yeah.
First time I did that, I was working as a police officer, and we had somebody on the bridge. I couldn't get the words out of my mouth. I mean, it's hard to say.
It's hard.
And I always told people, make sure you go home, look in the mirror, and practice saying, are you thinking about killing yourself, or are you thinking about committing suicide? Because it's hard to get those words out. And but that's what you have to do. You don't say, are you thinking about hurting yourself? You don't think you're doing something stupid. You have to ask people directly.
Yeah, I think it's one of the biggest myths that people have is that if I ask someone if they are suicidal, then they're going to be angry or I'm going to make the problem worse.
Right, or they're gonna, well, I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
Well, now maybe I'll try it. Yeah, that doesn't happen, right?
Well, the truth is that the minute you ask, you've relieved them in some way. And if you're wrong, they usually look at you and say, what? No, I would never do that. Or they start crying and they say, oh, how'd you know that I was really thinking
And they
about
also
it?
know that you have the courage to handle it if
Yeah.
they say, yes, I am thinking about that.
When we, as someone, as a helper, avoid the talk of it, then what happens is people think, oh, you're not comfortable with it, and so you don't want to talk about it.
Right.
So part of our job is really to get comfortable having these conversations. The other thing is this past month we had a rock suicide prevention event. Or actually we had 3 of those events where we painted rocks and we had the suicide prevention information on the back of the rock. And so we had a 10-year-old that came to one of our events that basically said that the reason he wanted to come was because some of his friends had been talking about suicide, and he wanted to leave them a rock because he didn't know how to help them, but he wanted to leave them a rock where he thought they would find it. And I think it's telling that a 10-year-old shows up at an event just for the purposes of saving their friends. And I think we as parents, we as adults in our community aren't doing our job if we're not having those conversations. So if our kids knew how to have those conversations and clearly are having those conversations, then we have to be good about having them.
Yeah, very true.
Because we don't want to lose our kids and we certainly don't want to lose our loved ones.
Yeah, definitely not. I've handled a number of suicides myself, and I mean, they're all heartbreaking, but the young ones particularly so. Well, okay, we're talking with Dr. Julie Rickard today. She has been a person, I mean, the spearhead of the suicide prevention efforts here in the Valley for quite some time, but she wears another hat, which we're going to talk about when we come back. So, hey, Street Talk and other stuff. We're going to take a break. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Hey everyone, Fletcher and Amy Ellington here from Live It Up. In the investment world, ROI stands for Return on Investment. Well, how does better health, better wealth, and better relationships sound for ROI? Join us every week right here on NCW Life and learn how to invest in the most important asset, you.
We're going to answer your questions and provide some weekly inspiration so you can create a life that you love. Join us on Live It Up.
Hello, Wenatchee Valley. Christian Shainman here with Bay Equity Home Loans.
Let us make your dream of home ownership a reality. We're here to guide you through the loan process every step of the way. Check out our convenient online application. Bay Equity Home Loans in Wenatchee, your home for loans.
Stop on by or give us a call today.
Just as we went on the air, Steve, NCW Life is live now on Facebook.
Hey, how's about that? We're live, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm Dan Kuntz, your host for the next hour.
Every weekday, starting at 7 o'clock.
Get ready for a bunch of news that's coming your way.
What's happening around North Central Washington. We'll have a rundown of all your local, regional, and statewide news. You can also find more on our website at ncwlife.com. Follow us on Twitter and like us on Facebook. That's Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on NCW Life News.
Tacos Chava has something new. Customers at Tacos Chava say it's the best Mexican food around. Nachos, enchiladas, tortas, ensaladas, and introducing camarones in many styles. You'll love the fresh salsa bar with so much selection. Are you ready for Tacos Chava? Find them at 2 great locations, the Wenatchee Valley Mall and ENIAC. Tacos Chava, tan delicioso.
Okay, we're back. Street Talking Other Stuff. I'm talking with Dr. Julie Rickard today, but Doctor, you have another hat that you wear as well.
Yes.
So tell us about that a little bit.
So I'm the program director for the American Behavioral Health System's Parkside facility, which is a crisis stabilization facility set to open hopefully here at the end of October.
Okay, and that is in the old Parkside
Senior
nursing
facility.
home that the Campbells donated to the city.
Yep.
And so tell us a little bit about that program, what that is going to...
So we're hoping to open the end of October, and it's going to be crisis stabilization unit, which basically will be a 16-bed voluntary unit where people in crisis can come to our facility and receive the help that they need. So we'll have psychiatric provider, mental health, chemical dependency, behavioral health techs, psych techs. We'll have a full Monty array of services to hopefully help people that are in a crisis at the time that they need it.
Okay, now how will people get brought to the program? Will they just show up, or will they be referred from their mental health providers? Or?
My sense is it will be both. So we've worked on pathways with law enforcement, with the emergency department, with the ambulance companies, and then our next step is connecting referral base with mental health. So if you've got a patient that someone's working with that they're worried about over the weekend, that they would connect with us, we'd do an intake and see if they're appropriate to stay in our facility. So people have to be voluntarily coming to the facility.
Okay, and how long is there going to be a time limit on how long they can stay? Or?
So we will vet them appropriately to the right level of services. So it could be 23 hours, so we're looking at like a 23-hour observation hold to see if that's something that would be appropriate, or up to 14 days. So it could be less, or anything in between 0 and 14 days.
Okay, and you're starting with 16 beds, is that what
16
you said?
beds, and then as we kind of understand how this all works and do a better job, then we'll graduate up to 24 beds.
Okay, what is is that the limit that you're going to be looking for?
Yep.
Okay, because the facility's actually bigger than that, isn't it?
Yeah, so we have another half that we're still working on finishing the construction on. So we're not clear exactly if we're going to open that as supportive housing or an involuntary unit. I think we're working with our local commissioners on what makes most sense for the community.
Okay, and where did the funding for this coming from? Is this...
So the last $4 million came from the state in the capital budget. Senator Linda Evans-Parlett has been amazing at advocating for this building to be used as a mental health facility, and because of that, the last $4 million came from the capital budget.
Okay. So this is going to be staffed 24 hours,
24 hours a day.
And you're going to have, your office will be there, I take it?
Yep.
And counseling?
So there won't be outpatient counseling. We will be, my hope is to build into a program. So the goal really is to have some outpatient at the front end. So my vision is to have a psychiatric urgent care. So to have people 24 hours a day able to show up and get their needs met, and then we decide, can we manage them as an outpatient? Maybe they're chemical dependency, and we partner with the Center for Drug and Alcohol. We will decide kind of, is it a 23-hour stay, up to a 14-day stay, and then determine kind of level of need. And then we'll ultimately want to have a bridge program for the discharge, so we're working with care coordinators in the area to make sure that people are helping to get to their appointments, that they're following back up with the primary care. One of the problems with recidivism for people in crisis is that they often are lost to follow up after an inpatient stay. So our job will be to make sure that they're safe, but also to make sure that they are making their appointments and kind of coordinating with the other services that they might need, but maybe are out of touch with.
Okay, well, it being voluntary, let's say somebody, you know, the cops pick up somebody with definite mental health issues and a county designated mental health professional determines that they need to be held for, I think, what is it, 72 hours?
Yep.
Is this your facility a place where these folks will be sent, or they?
No, so right now, anybody that is needing involuntary detention, they would go follow the same path. So the DCRs, so the designated crisis responders, would then send them to the emergency department to be admitted into Confluence Health's MU1 or Medical Unit 1. They have a single bed, they have 10 beds for involuntary patients right now.
Okay, I didn't know that they did that locally.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Okay, well, Doctor, appreciate you being here.
Absolutely,
Okay,
I'm
very
so
good.
glad to have been here.
Well, it's exciting to have you. You're doing great work, and I appreciate that. But
Thank you.
we're going to come back in a minute, but I want to, again, say thanks very much to Dr. Rickard. It was great.
Thank you.
If you do want to contact her, if you were interested at all in any of these programs or becoming a trainer for the suicide prevention program, you can contact her or you can contact me, Maddog at NWI.net, and I'll make sure you get hooked up. But hey, Street Talk and other stuff, you stick around. We'll be right back. So.
I'm Grant Olson, and you're watching the NCW Life channel.
I'm Eric Grandstrom with NCW Life Sports.
I'm NCW Life News Director Steve Hare.
Catch us on Local Tel Channel 12.
You can watch us on Charter Channel 19 or stream us live on ncwlife.com.
Follow us on Twitter and like us on Facebook.
Where we cover the local high schools, the Wenatchee Wild, and the pro teams out of Seattle.
On Saturday, we have a 90% chance of rain.
Catch it all right here on the NCW Life channel.
Looking for a hands-on, high-demand job? Now is the perfect time to get trained for a career in manufacturing. Washington currently has a shortage of skilled tradespeople, and retirements are making room for more. The machining program at Wenatchee Valley College is designed to give students the foundation to excel in this precision industry. Don't wait, there are only 15 spots left. A 2-year degree and a 1-year certificate are available. Learn more at wvc.edu/machining.
If you are looking for dependable car service and repair, visit the good guys at Quick Lube and Tune. They've been keeping cars and trucks in the Wenatchee Valley running smooth for 35 years. Quick Lube and Tune is your hometown shop for a 10-minute oil change, complete tune-ups, alignments, brakes, mufflers, air conditioning service, and more. Get more life out of your vehicle by bringing it to the local guys you can trust at Quick Lube and Tune on South Wenatchee Avenue.
I'm Jenny Rojanasatian, and this is Guada TV. Every week we will be bringing you a first look at North Central Washington business, tech, and education news. You'll hear from local influencers and innovators who live right here in the Valley. Together, we'll discuss hot topics, current events, and resources that can support your business, our schools, and this community. Join me every week, and let's get inspired.
Okay, thanks for coming back. Again, I want to thank Dr. Rickard, but I do want to give you a commercial. Now, look, Music Theater Wenatchee is doing Little Shop of Horrors. It's going to be the last 2 weekends in October and the first weekend in November. Tickets are on sale now. You can go to, you can search Wenatchee Pack on Google, or if you know how to get to the Performing Arts Center website, you can order tickets there. They will be available at the door, but I'm going to tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. What happens with the show, this show is funny, okay? In a black sort of way. But what happens with these comedies is that people love them. They come see them, word of mouth spreads around, and by the last couple of weekends of the show, tickets are sold out and you can't get them. So get them now. Trust me on the, look at this face. You can buy a used car from a guy like me. But this is going to be a great show, Little Shop of Horrors. Some of you are familiar with it, but we're deep in rehearsals now. We start working with the band tonight.
That's awesome.
With the singing, but it's going to be a lot of fun. So again, you can go to the Performing Arts Center website. You can get tickets now, and I strongly advise that you do. But
yeah,
Doctor, thank you for being
All
here.
right, thank you.
Thanks for all your work. Appreciate it. And hey, Street Talk and other stuff. Mike Maddog, Magnotti. We will see you next week. Thanks for being here today. You have a great day. Bye-bye.